Hey sis. So I know you're probably saying in your head right now, sis, where have you been? Well, I'm going to share with you a life update and let you know what's been going on with me. I'm going to offer you a little encouragement and also let you know how we will be moving forward. So don't miss this. Get all the deets and join me right after this. Hey sis, welcome to Goodbye Heartbreak, Hello Healing. Are you hurt and confused after a recent breakup? Are you having thoughts like, I can't believe I'm here again. Why wasn't I enough for him? Or I'm never going to get married? Do you find yourself Googling how to get past the breakup or how to heal my broken heart? Do you start your morning feeling like you can finally breathe again, only to fall apart when you see a picture of your ex on social media? Hey sis, I'm Candace. I too was a single Christian woman who was heartbroken but still desired marriage. I too had numerous failed relationships and wished the right man would come along. I wanted closure from past relationships, healing for my heart, and I wanted to feel joy in my life again. But the truth is, I had no idea where to start or how to make any of this happen until I found the secret, partnering with God to heal from heartbreak. In this podcast, you will find tips for moving on after breakups, growing your relationship with God, and preparing for future relationships so that you will heal your heart and be ready to move forward into the life you desire. So turn off those heartbreak songs and turn me up in those earbuds. It's time to heal, sis. Hey sis, and welcome back to Goodbye Heartbreak, Hello Healing podcast. I know it has been quite some time and we might have some new listeners. So if you are here for the first time, welcome. If you're the first time you're listening to me with a live episode coming out fresh, I am sorry that I have been MIA, but so much has been going on and I'm going to fill you in just a second. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you are listening. Sis, things will be a little bit different for a little while, and so I want to make sure that you know when I drop an episode. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you will get the notification every time a new episode is published. All right, let's get into it. I know you're like, where have you been? It is a long story, but I'm going to make it short. Okay, so a lot was happening with me, and it started kind of back in October. Late September, early October, where I got, not necessarily a job offer per se, but a school district. If you didn't know, I am a school psychologist by trade. And so a school district who had asked me several times before to, if I wanted to come work there, reached out, let me know. They have an, position that was going to be opening up and wanted to know, if I wanted to apply to go ahead. And usually my response to this, because a lot of districts reach out to me, school psychologists are a hot commodity, but we are low and few in number. And so my response is usually no, I'm not moving because not because where I was working was so great, but because my kids were in school, a school that I liked nearby. And so I just thought that I was kind of going to be stuck there. But I'll be honest with you and let you know that I had been praying to God about my job situation because I wasn't happy where I was. It was a lot of personal stuff with people that I was working with there. And just the way that I felt like I was treated in general. And it wasn't just me, so I'm not going to make it seem like it was a very personal thing. But of course, when things are happening, it feels very personal to you. And so I've been praying about it. And I really thought I was going to be getting out of the career altogether because I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to make it through long term to retirement and all of these things. So I had been praying about this for quite some time. And when I got the call to apply for this position, God was like, go for it. My spirit. Okay. In my spirit, I felt like I should apply. Now, let me back up a little bit. A few years ago, probably about 2-ish years ago, God had told me that when my son started pre-K4, I would no longer be working at this job. All right. So this school year in August, my son started pre-K4. Nothing happened. I wasn't tripping about it. I didn't see a way out of this job, but God, right? I didn't see a way out and I didn't say anything. I didn't worry about it. And when this came up, I felt in my spirit, it was like, move, go with it. And to be honest with you, I didn't want to because I'm complacent. How many of you know it's hard to change? It's hard to transition, especially when you're comfortable. Even though my situation was quite toxic, honestly, it was a toxic work environment, but I knew it. I was fluent in it. I was good at it. I knew the systems there. I knew everything I needed to know. And so I was like, I could stay. I could work it. My kids' school was directly across the street from the school where I was. So just put up with the mess and stay. But again, my spirit was telling me to go apply. Okay, so I applied for the position. And then when that window closed for the applications, someone else reached out to me about a job at a charter school. And I had already wrapped my mind. I was like, you know what? We could move. We could move to this district. It's actually the district I work in. And so I had opened up my mind to the possibility of actually leaving this job. Someone reached out to me about a job at a charter school. I'm not going to go with you with all the back and forth, but it was a lot of back and forth with the person. And they were adamant that I at least talk to the people at the school. I was saying no because it was a long drive. It's far away. There's no reason for me to go that far when my home and my family is an hour. It's an hour drive for me to get to that school. But I talked to the person. They were desperate for someone and were willing to negotiate some things. Long story short, okay, I ended up going with the job at the charter school with the hour drive, but so much that happened in the negotiations and so much that they allowed me to have the freedom to do was the game changer for me in my life, and what God coming through and doing something that I didn't know was possible. I thought in my mind, and I want you to think about your life here. When we think about how things can turn out and you think about your situation of heartbreak and you're like, God, the only way I can be happy is, and then fill in the blank. What do you put right there? For me in this situation, I was like, the only way I can get out of this job and it be beneficial for me is to probably do some contract work. I'd have to give up my benefits. I'd have to give up being close to my kids. I would have to give up retirement, like all of these things. But I felt like I just couldn't sustain it anymore. And so I was like, you just give it up and work contract and make it work somehow, some way. But the Lord is so good in his kindness and faithfulness that he offered me a job at a charter school where I would be at one school, right? It's a K through 12 campuses right next to each other. So basically in my mind, one school, which is great. And I would have remote days. I would be able to show up in my home more like I wanted to. The times were able to be negotiated. They are a charter school who actually is covered by the what we call the Bessie board. Basically, they are in the teacher retirement that I was already paying into. And so all the things I thought I would have to give up to be able to show up in my home more, to be with my kids more, to have some flexibility, God made it so I could still have a salary, my benefits, and those things. So I go into this job to this campus 2 to 3 times a week. And then the other days I work from home. Do you know how much flexibility that gives me with my kids, with my life? And so I'm feeling like I'm getting my life back. Now, in that comes a lot of stretching, right? Because I'm no longer comfortable. Okay, I am learning a lot. I'm taking on a different role. I'm moving differently. I have to in this new job. And so think about your life again. If God puts you in a place, you're going to have to stretch this. You're going to have to be open to the newness. You will have to be uncomfortable. And so walking away from that relationship, walking away from that man and saying, you know what, I'm not going back. The unknown is scary, but I believe and trust God that as I transition out of this relationship, not just physically, but mindset wise, because you might be physically out of the relationship, but your heart and your mind is still in it. Okay, you're going to have to transition all the way out, sis, to be able to access what it is that God has next for you. And then embrace that. No matter how hard it seems, how tough it is, healing is hard work. I get it. It's not comfortable. It's not great work. But allow God to stretch you and give you the capacity that you need, because it will be such a blessing for the next season of your life. And so in this new job, I'm being stretched. stretched thin, honestly, because I don't have a team anymore. I am doing a lot of things that I had other people to do for me in a district where there were people hired, but they don't have that here. So I'm creating processes. I'm doing things. I'm data manager, supervisor, pupil appraisal person, which is, part of being a school psychologist, and a lot of other things. I'm taking on different roles, but the Lord is allowing me to learn so much through this process. Now, sometimes I'm like, Lord, I don't want to. I just want to do my job the way I'm used to doing my job. But God is like, I'm doing something new in you. And so if God wants to do something new in you, sis, be okay with the stretching. Be okay with the transition. No, it won't feel good. It's not great. But on the other side of that is a new you that I want you to experience and get to know. So think about that. Now, what I will say for myself as I'm going through my own life story, with that alone did not make me stop podcasting when I did. I think the last episode that I published for you guys was at the end, like the very last week of November. And what ended up happening was we took my husband and I ended up taking a trip. All this while I'm going through this whole process, it's mentally and emotionally draining because it was really hard for me to make that decision. It was hard for me to leave what I knew, and it was hard for me to decide which job to take because both jobs did give me an offer. And so trying to decide which one would be best for me and my family, and just trying to follow God's lead on that and trying to pray and hear clearly from him. And so it took a big toll on me. I was pretty exhausted, plus finishing up everything. And so one thing I wanted to make sure that I did well was not leave a whole bunch of work for the other person to do. So I worked really, really hard in the last 2 weeks to make sure I got most of my work done. And I did not take a break between the jobs. I ended on a Friday. I had a weekend, and then I started on the following Monday. It was quick. And so, so with that, my husband and I took a trip, as we always do, during the week of Thanksgiving. But this year, something happened with my parents, and I ended up having to take our kids with us. So that was different. And I did not get to rest and rejuvenate the way that I normally do during that time. I'm like, work, because I know that time of year, I'm going to have some downtime and I'm going to be able to rest. And we didn't get that. And so when we came back, like I said, I published that episode. It was the last week of November, and I kind of hit a wall. I was also at the same time doing our Christian Women's Breakup Recovery Program, which was phenomenal, right? The women loved that program. They showed up for themselves. We met every week, except that week when I went on vacation, but we met every week, and we really worked through their healing and got them prepared and got them working on things. And they had so much revelation and got to dig deep. And so it was so amazing. And this last round was 6 weeks. And so it was a phenomenal time, and the women loved it. But I mentally, like I said, I had to really dig deep to show up. So I felt like I hit a wall that week that I published that last episode. And I was like, you know what? I need to take the next week off. And then from there, that week turned into 2, which turned into a few, which turned into a month, which turned into a few months. And then here we are in February, me explaining to you what happened. And so I just was so exhausted that I just couldn't go anymore. And as women, we're kind of like, if it needs to get done, it'll get done. And that's the kind of person that I was. I'm like, I'm not putting anything on the back burner. I'm not putting anything down. Yes, other things got thrown on my plate, but I need to do this thing too. So I decided that I was like, okay, I was so exhausted. I couldn't go anymore. And so I was like, I have to lay down something. I couldn't stop the program with the women who were in it. So I was like, I'm just not going to podcast right now. And I thought I would pick back up a whole lot sooner. Like I said, I thought I could just have a week off, but a week wasn't enough to find the rest and rejuvenation that I needed. I was in the middle of a big transition. I had been at my other job for 13 years, and now I'm starting a new job with new duties and roles, trying to figure out a new system in my home with my kids because, by the same token, my husband, who was always home, got a new job as well, working outside of the home. And we had to figure that situation out too. And so we decided on him dropping the kids off in the mornings, me picking them up in the afternoons. And anyway, working that all out. And then from there, we finished the program at the the week of Christmas was the last week of the program. And I completely fell apart after that, because even in the midst of that, something else ended up happening. I experienced a huge financial loss. Our household did a huge financial loss, where something happened and basically we're starting over financially, and that's a hard thing to share publicly. It's a little bit embarrassing. It's also I had to really work my emotions around that, because I've never experienced anything like that before in my life. And to just have to trust God through that process was extremely hard, because where you used to having a safety net and something to fall back on, and now you feel like you're just living paycheck to paycheck because there's nothing else there. It's really, really difficult. And having to, again, wrap my mind around that and what happened. And it was a lot. And that happened at the beginning of December. And so that added to my stress. It added to the weight. It added to everything else. So by the time we finished the program, I was I stopped everything. So the week of Christmas, after Christmas was over, my parents kept my kids for a week, the time between Christmas and New Year's, and I shut down completely. I did absolutely nothing for that week. I stayed in bed most of the time. I watched a lot of TV. I ate a lot of snacks. I did a lot of stuff. And I probably should have handled that week differently, but I just I wanted to be zoned out. And that's not the best thing for you when you experience loss. And I had to remind myself of what I tell you guys all the time. When you are grieving or you're feeling some type of loss, that's not the way you handle it. You don't retreat into yourself. You don't zone out. You don't distract yourself with all of these outside things. You have to lean further into God. And so I had to get on that track of doing that after the new year was over. Going into the new year, I would say I had to really get on that track of leaning into God and being okay, God, what do you want me to do? What do I do? How do I start over here? And with this financial setback, loss, I had taken a pay cut whenever I took this new job. It's a temporary pay cut because in the school system, we work on contracts. And I ended up taking a temporary pay cut until the contract starts over, which is not until the end of September this year. So until then, I am receiving significantly less every month on my paycheck until that starts over. So that was another thing. I can't believe I did this. Started having buyer's remorse because this happened. But I believe now that I can say clearly that this is all in God's plan. And God had given me scriptures in this season. He has given me scriptures in this season because, man, it's hard to have peace. It was hard to have joy. It was just hard to handle all of the things. And so it was man, we finally feel like we're getting ahead, right? Do you feel I finally found the guy. I finally had the right, a good relationship. I finally found somebody, only for it to end like this. That's exactly how I felt. We finally both had good jobs at the same time, finally feeling happy because I like my new job. I actually do like my new job. And to have that setback come immediately after that, I'm God, what is happening? Why is it? But the Lord, I just believe, is strengthening my faith. Now, granted, I'm not saying that he orchestrated this to happen, but it is something that happened based on decisions for a long time ago. And so he is using this situation because it's up to us how the situation affects us. Yes, it's going to be devastating. When you have heartbreak, you're going to be hurt. It's painful. But will you allow the devil to use it to tear you down, to turn away from God, to engage in sin, or will you allow God to use it to build you up, to grow your faith, to stretch you and prepare you for the next season to be healthy and whole? And God was just letting me know, I was the reason you were able to get the wealth that you had already. So would I not do it again? Can I not do it again? And so think about your situation, sis. Okay, you were in a relationship. You had what you felt like was love, but God might be saying, I have something better for you. I have to prune this away from you, out of this relationship, prune some other things off of you in order to prepare you for what I truly have next for you, the blessing that I have for you. It takes some hurt and some loss sometimes. It feels like loss, but it's really not. It's so you can gain what it is. And I've been in John chapter 15 for quite some time, and God brought those scriptures back to my mind. And the verse that talks about, that we have to abide in God, and I'm not reading it, so I don't have it verbatim, but I've been looking at it so much, that we abide in Jesus. And as we abide in him, he abides in us. And he's like, for those who don't bear fruit, for the branches that don't bear fruit, they throw them into the fire. But for the branches that do bear fruit, God prunes them that they may be even more fruitful, that they may bear even more fruit. And that's what God was telling me about my situation. He's like, yes, you've been pruned in this area of your life. So now you're going to trust me, and we're going to build even more fruit. Think about the fruit of the Spirit. What do you want right now? Do you want peace? Do you want joy? Do you want love? Do you want kindness? Like, all of those things are fruits of the Spirit. You cannot buy them. They have to come from the Holy Spirit. You have to dwell in Jesus, who's the source, who's the vine, for to be nourished with these fruit. And so I'm like, yes, God, like, yes, I want these things. And I've been struggling with joy for quite some time. And I'm like, God, I just want to feel joyful again. And he's like, abide in me. And every time before this season, I would complain about something or face a test, and I would talk to God about it. And his response would always be, abide in me. Just abide in me. Stay here with me. And I'm just like, oh my God, I want something else to happen. But he's like, no, just abide in me. Like, everything you need is right here. So basically, that's where I am right now, sis. Like, I've been trying to rest. I've been trying to go to bed more, trying to figure out what it is my nervous system needs in order to sleep better at night, to have more peace, to, like I said, go to bed earlier, also to show up more and better with my family, having, cooking dinners that, are more nourishing. And also for myself, like, I realized that I need protein early in the morning. So I'm starting my day with that. Like, learning myself, learning my body, and connecting with God more is kind of where I'm at. And I am in a place now that, I can accept what has happened, and I'm trusting God to restore. He gave me the scripture from Joel chapter 2, I think it's 25, where he talks about the different locusts. And he said, I will restore the years that the locusts came to eat. And he starts naming all these locusts. And I was like, you know what? He's like, the chewing locust, the swarming locust, all these locusts. And then he says, my great army that I sent upon you. The one thing I can say about my situation, especially the financial situation, is that I didn't feel like this was the devil doing anything to me. I was like, you know what? I felt like it was a pruning, like God would allow this to happen, right? Not that he did it orchestrated, but he allowed it to happen to help prune me in this season. And so I just look at your situation. Like, did the enemy really come mess up your relationship? Or is it like God's like, no, it is time to separate from that. It's time for you to do something different now. And so I believe that God is pruning and that he will restore, because in that scripture, he said, it was my great army that I sent among you. And so if he did that, he has reason. He has a plan and a purpose, but he said he would restore it. He gave me that scripture, and I'm standing on it, and I'm trusting it, and I'm believing that he will restore. And I'm saying this as accountability as well, because when he does, I want to be able to be a voice of praise one to him, to thank him for what he's done, but also to share that God is real. He's true to his word. He keeps his promise, and to encourage you even further. All right. So that is it, sis. And that's really the story of what's been going on with me. And so moving forward, I'm going to put a podcast episode out. I'm saying right now, once I'm probably twice a month. I want to say once a month because I'm scared with my time and everything like that, my capacity, but I want to commit to 2 episodes a month. And so this is my first one for February, and I want to put out a second one, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to say like first and third week or anything like that. Those 2 episodes going to come when it comes, sis. And that's how we're going to move forward for a little while. And I'm sorry if this is causing inconvenience for any of you guys. I'm trying to do my best to show up for you and still take care of myself. And this is probably going to be for the rest of this school year for sure, so that I can learn this new job, acclimate to what I'm doing. And the other big thing is that I had to trust God with rebuilding, because like I said, financially, we're in a rebuilding phase. But also I felt like I wasn't showing up on the podcast, and I was afraid that I was going to lose all of my listeners. I was afraid that, the income did stop, like I'm not putting out episodes. And so not a lot of people are purchasing books or courses or anything like that. And God made me be okay with that. He's like, just rest in me. And it's hard because at a time where I feel like I'm on a financial struggle, I'm also like, I was going to jump back in and try to do some coaching and things like that. And God's like, no. Rest in me. Trust me with this season. And so I'm wholeheartedly trusting God with this season. I thought I was going to try to find some contract work as a school psychologist. I was going to run my program, which I had planned to run the program again. And then God was just like, don't run it again till the fall. And so the Christian breakup recovery program had so much momentum, and I felt like it would have been great for the beginning of this year. But I'm not going to run it again to the fall. God is having me wait until then. So I'm assuming I'll have a little more capacity mentally, physically, spiritually, everything to make it happen then. But I really was looking forward to it because the program is so great. And so be expecting that to come back around August, September of this year. I'm also not doing any one-on-one coaching at this current moment either. And so to be able to provide the support that you need, if you are looking for something more than just a podcast, I do have my books. Go to my website, CandiceABaddies.com, and you can get a copy of my 365-day devotional with a 10% discount. Use the discount code at checkout, podcast10. And get the book and let that walk you through in this season. Start now and go through this season. If you're struggling with heartbreak and trying to heal, you're really hurt. It starts with dealing with the hurt. And there's 60 devotionals that take you through 2 months of just dealing with the hurt. And then it moves on to growing with God from there. And it continues all the way through the process of purpose. So go ahead and get the book if that's you. And then also, if you feel like you need a little more than that, I still have my course, Grieving the Living, which is a 4-week course to help you through the grieving process after loss of a relationship or a marriage as you walk through this healing process. It really is a good course. People love it. And so I have a link in the show notes for you for Grieving the Living, and you can use the discount code podcast20 at checkout for a 20% discount. So go ahead and grab those 2 things to help you as I try to rest and recover until I come back with some live support for you guys. Okay. I love y'all so much, and I have missed you tremendously. And I really want to be able to show up with you more fully. But for now, I do have to take care of myself, and I want you to do the same. Find out exactly what you need. Take care of yourself, heal and grow, and trust God, sis. I love you so much, and I'll talk to you again soon enough. Bye. Hey, sis. Listen, if you've been blessed, changed, or inspired by this podcast in any way, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. This is the #1 way that you can thank me and show support for the show. Also, if this podcast blessed you, don't keep it to yourself. Do a quick share and bless someone else. Please know I am so grateful for each and every one of you, and I would love to hear from you. Come connect with me and other like-minded individuals in my Facebook group called Christian Women Overcoming Heartbreak and Finding Purpose. I can't wait to meet you back here really soon. Until then, remember to love the life you have while you're making it better. Love you, sis.